Hello, everyone. We are going to be talking about how to live stream on YouTube and actually grow your YouTube channel. I am really excited because live streaming is one of the most misunderstood parts of YouTube growth. It has a lot of unique benefits, but the thing what I find when you show up on camera and you are going live, a lot of people forget some of those core values and some of the things that matter a lot on YouTube. So what I'm going to say is we're going to want to focus really on those today, but I have someone very special. Today I am joined by someone who I think is incredibly skilled at live streaming, someone who I think really has a great understanding of the craft of going live. So this is Marielou, and she is one of the creators who can take, a live environment that might be chaotic and hectic, and she just has a knack of making it feel, smooth, inviting, and overall fun and human. So I don't know anyone better than her to bring on to the stream today, and I'm so excited. Marielou, let's get into it. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here. I see we've got some of our people who were actually in my live stream that was just before this coming to hang out with us here. So hello, friends.
Hi, Doc. Hi, Ike. I see it's a beautiful mix and match of people we have in both of our audience coming through today. So, when it comes to live streaming, I think that's one of my favorite parts is just that community aspect. What do you like the most about live streaming? Just right off the top here.
Oh, it's definitely the community because we can film by ourselves and, most of the time you're going to be by yourself talking to inanimate objects. But when you start to live stream and you start to connect with people who come to your chats, they come to hang out with you. Like, this is our hangout time. It's magical. It's so great. Like, that's the best part. That's what really makes it different. And then anything can happen. I'm an improv gal. I came from the live theater.
You got to get good at yes anding for sure.
Yes, definitely. So it's wonderful. And if you have not yet tried it, like, please do because it battles the fake robot stuff that's out there, because what they cannot fake is our complete folly in messing up and that anything can happenness of it.
I understand that. I think one of the things is like anything can happen live, and one of those things is that human. And I was talking to someone recently, and they were like, I don't understand why my live streams do so well, but my edited content doesn't do as well. And we're gonna talk about that. But what they were doing, what they can't do in a live stream is cut out those human error, those in-betweens, those those ahs. So it was interesting because the things that they were editing out were actually kind of the things audience like.
Right, because we are not broadcast television. We're not movies. Like, when people want perfect, they will go find it. Here, they want to see a person, right? They want to see like a kind of version of them reflecting back, or something that they could see in them, or that they can relate to, like a person, a real life person. You come to my live streams, things are going to get weird. It's guaranteed. But that's also the brand. Why not?
But I think if people are aware of it, I think it's always the unexpected thing that gets people off guard. And I think that like there are ways that even if things go wrong, you can recover. I think it's like an improv. You never say no. You got to keep going. And one of those things that I hear, and I'm sure you've heard this too, Marielou, is that when people are getting going, they're like, I don't even know how live streams are going to fit into my, my strategy, my YouTube playbook. When people are wondering about how can live streaming kind of fit into what they're doing, what do you usually tell them?
I like to relate live streaming to, so if your videos are you talking on a stage and you're performing, you've got your outline, you've got your notes, you know what you're going to say. That's a presentation. A live stream is like you have a booth at a conference, and like you have stuff you're going to share, you have stuff you're going to show, but really it's about what are people going to walk by and talk to you about. Are you doing something that makes someone want to come over to your booth? But then at that point, anything can happen. If they're going to ask about this, great, talk about that. If they're going to talk about this, then you got to pivot and go that route. If there's a lot of people, you need to figure out how to address a crowd. If it's one person, you got to talk to that one person. So when they're not sure how it's going to fit, especially like if it's a business, like, do you not go to events, right? Like, it's a difference between a presentation and you at a table entertaining anybody who walks by. They
True.
might stay for a minute, or they might just walk on by, but they saw you. They saw you. And
Yeah,
that's
and
important.
I fully agree. And I think going to your very well put booth analogy, as someone who's done the booth life, I think that's a great like example. I'm all about metaphor and simile here. People who know. But I think similar in a live stream, you know, and in a booth, you have like 60 seconds or like a minute or 2 minutes to really kind of get them interested. Similar happens in a live stream, right? Like if you think about how we teed this up, the first things I said was focusing on you watching. If you're watching this live or this replay, you got to bring value. Similarly, you've got to do that in person at a booth. And you can tell immediately when people are not buying it in person, you know? So I think that was so well said.
Yes, coming from marketing life, you know, those of us who like, you worked in marketing, you know, this thing can connect with people. And I would say like most people have at least experienced a booth, like if it's a farmer's market, like anywhere that you've gone where there's something where people can walk by and visually see it, and then you make a decision. Are you going to go engage with it or not? And then you keep going, even if nobody's there. You keep play some music, you have some fun, you do something that's interesting to maybe get somebody to come by.
No, I fully agree with that. So, you know, you talk about energy, and I feel like that's something people struggle with when it comes to live streaming. A lot of people are like, you know, I don't have the energy to be live, or I'm not that kind of person. And I have a question for you. What would you say to someone who's like, I'm not sure if I'll have the energy to be a live stream person?
I always ask, like, do you have the energy to have a conversation with anyone ever? Like, do you know how to talk to people ever? Like, can you sit at dinner and talk to someone? Yes, you can. You can do this. And I think where people's energy tends to be questioned is when the people aren't in the chat, and then they think that that's a reflection on them. But it's like
Mm.
you've never live streamed before. So no, but you got to get used to talking to yourself. Are you a good conversationalist? And if you're not, I mean, maybe we work on that first. You know,
Yeah.
there's that is a skill that's going to help you everywhere.
And I think YouTube is working on features, you know, the people watching, you know, there's a practice feature that they're working on so that you can practice going live before you go live. And I can send it to a friend like Marielou, who might be like, hey, Andrew, in person, you're way more personable than in your live streams. She's never said that, but that's an example, right? So I also, you know, going into that energy thing, I mean, you've hosted everything from like very high energy streams to more calm educational ones. So I guess my question to you is kind of what's the biggest shift in your mind when you are going between like hosting a large show or just kind of talking directly to camera when, you know, people who might have those camera confidence things?
It's a reading the room situation, right?
Mm.
And these are skills, all these skills like will help you if you're going to go on a date, if you're going to be at a dinner party, if you're going to networking. It's all similar kind of skill sets that are going to help you everywhere. Can you read a room? If no one's there, great. I had something I was going to come and talk about anyway. There's something to do. There's always something to do. If somebody's in there and they ask a question, great. We've got a topic. We will go that route. And if things start to get weird, let it get weird. Just let it get weird. And when it's a big crowd, like we did for Cyber Monday, there was like a 7-hour live stream and I was a guest for one portion of it. We know these people have been going all day, right?
Yep.
I was not the main host. I'm a guest that comes in. I came in with big energy because I know they're tired, right? I know that they're tired. So I can choose and throttle to the level that would be helpful to the show,
Sure.
right? What is helpful to the show and the audience? How is this going to make this a better piece of content for the people watching it and for the people participating? You know, I'm just trying to be a good person involved in the thing from any place that I'm at.
No, and I love how you're thinking of the audience you want to talk to, especially in the 7-hour live stream example. As someone who's done 24-hour live streams, when that new energy comes, even as a host, oh, it's like a breath of fresh air. You're like, oh, I've needed this. It's like you're in the desert and you finally found water, you know? So I appreciate that you also are thinking not only of the viewers watching, but also like who has been on before and like the energy when you're talking one-on-one to camera. Like even if you're going live for the first time, it's going to help you be better at recorded content. Like that's something I don't think people realize as well.
Yes, it is like the most important practice in getting better at doing your recorded stuff is doing it live. Because if you're willing to continue conversations and talking to people in live, then when you record, I find that people don't trip so much over the fact that they say a word wrong. Because
Mm.
when you're live, you say a word wrong, you just stop and say it again. Like, like just continue your conversation like you would as a real person. Because there's something about the record button that makes people not act like a real person anymore. But this,
I fully agree.
there's something about that button that now you're someone else. But if you go live, you still will have that issue. But I feel like that's where you can bridge the gap because people are watching and you're like, get out of your head a little bit because you're like, wait, oh, somebody's watching me. Oh, yes. What? Let's talk about that. Let's have conversations, right? Be a
Yeah.
person,
And I love
please.
what Doc said earlier. You can't get good at talking to a large crowd until you get good at talking to two people. I think that's very true. And I think one thing people do is they forget those numbers are real. Like, I've had so many conversations where they're like, oh, I only have 500 subscribers. That's a graduating class in front of you. If you have more
Yes.
than 2,300 subs, you have more than Broadway theaters who are tuning in, right? And I think it's perspective we tend to not have. And another thing I've noticed, and this came from a question, is I'm losing viewers early because my energy, they think, and they're like they think it doesn't match their promise. I think Marielou, you're great at like setting tone quickly. How do you do that with such intention? How do you know how to bring in the energy? Because like you mentioned the 7-hour stream, what was your innate reason, or how did you know that?
So with the 7-hour live stream, right? I was in there ahead of time. So I kind of knew already what they were going because I'm trying to be a good guest. If you're like a guest at a party or if you're speaking at somewhere and you can get a vibe for the room and like what would reinvigorate this group of people, both on camera and off camera? How can I be a good party guest if I'm going from that direction? If you're a live stream host or just recording a video where you're talking, you are a host. Who else is a host? A party host. If you're a party host, what is your job? Make sure everyone's having a good time. And like to read the crowd. Is this a very serious crowd? Like if I'm a party host for a, bar mitzvah is a different energy than for a networking event, right? Maybe. I guess depending on what time of day it is.
True.
It could go anyway, but like that's where you kind of have to read the room and get used to people, but then it's also setting the tone for you. Not everybody can come with the same energy I have. Like I love this stuff and I'm willing to like be a mess and mess up and do great and do not great. Like I have no problem with all of that. That's very fun for me. This is a fun exercise for me. But for some people, it might not be. Your energy might be more serious, might be more corporate. It might be the people that you want to talk to that are going to be people who hire you or whatever, things like that. Then energy is relative.
Hmm.
You can be high energy in a serious way. High energy does not need to be big, loud confettis. But then high energy can be, right? It
Yeah,
totally can be. These are the
absolutely.
things that you kind of like fluctuate to. And the more you live stream, the more you can actually try these personas on and see how they work for you. But when people say like people drop off right away, it's like, yeah, because your live stream went live to a bunch of people and they choose to stay or they don't. And like, you don't know, like maybe they're in the middle of something. They clicked on it and they're like, oh, I can't watch this because I'm driving. I don't know. Like,
Right.
don't take it personal. It's like, it's fine.
People are going to come and go. You also don't know if they have an ad. Maybe they accidentally clicked when they were scrolling. There are lots of reasons that people come into a live stream and then maybe not stay. And also, especially on YouTube as a platform, what I've found is that you can look at your audience, like how many of them already are kind of keen to watch a live stream. So I think when you're losing viewers like that, that's very important to keep that in mind. I also love what you said about hosting, right? You're not just a live stream host. Think of multiple forms of hosting. I think that's so clever because I often say, in the comments, you're the first person to the party, but usually the first person to the party is the host. So that's just another, you're blowing my mind on that one, I have to say.
Yeah. And you think about, okay, so what other kind of hosts are there? There's a restaurant host, right? The hostess who's going to seat you. That's when you come in the door and they're like, oh my gosh, thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you're here. how many people are in your party? Let me show you to your table. They are setting the tone, right? Your job is, it's your job to set the tone. It is not the audience's job to make you feel good about being there. It's your job to make them feel good about being at your party.
Right. And I think another thing is if you're worried about like your viewership, is what can you do? And this is my YouTube point of view coming in. A lot of people will just go live because they want to go live, but they forget that people came to their channel for a reason, right? Like if Marielou came to this stream and I'm like, hey, we're going to teach people how to live stream. I'm actually like, you know what, Marielou, we're going to do origami the whole time. She's like, but why did you title it? She'd probably have a blast. I probably would also have a blast. But it's also not related to what we promised, right? And I think that's something that is very important. And you know, a lot of this is a skill. You mentioned earlier that you got to train that skill. So my question for you next, I guess, is if you could teach creators one kind of hosting habit, you know, going back to the idea that we're hosts before they ever hit go live, what would that be and kind of why? What would you recommend?
I would recommend that you realize and notice times in your day when you are doing one thing while talking about something else. Because you can do one thing. You can wash dishes, but talk about the latest episode of Stranger Things. We're not doing dishes and talking about doing dishes, right? You can do more than one thing. So if we were to come on here and talk about live streaming and you said we're going to do origami, it could happen. Because as humans, we do that. You have dinner, you don't just talk about dinner. You talk about you're not like, hello, welcome to my dinner. This is how you use a knife. Like we're not, that's not real life. Like think about how you interact in real life and be a good date, right? Be a good date. You have the skills, right? As a host, if you've never identified yourself as a host, you think about in times in your day, in your life where you are leading a conversation. And like, can you do more than one thing at once? Can you exist and talk about one thing and do the other? Can you? You can, I'm telling you.
Well, if Marielou can, you can too.
Yes, can do, Andrew.
I mean, now we're just getting self-referential, but like even that, right? Like people are really liking what you're saying, especially I love the hosting analogy you gave. And I think it's important to remember that any kind of live stream, whether it's like talking to camera like this, or maybe you're a gaming creator and people are just joining, right? Because influxes happen too, right? In a live stream. Sometimes you start with like 8, we started with 6, we're up to 14, it'll go higher throughout, and then the replay will get more views, right? So like, how do you balance like how to reset the room, especially when you've been live for a little bit?
It is sometimes based off of what the crowd has been bringing up, or if I had something on my agenda that I wanted to do, right? So I always will go into a live stream with something that I was trying to get done, and then willing to pivot, right? Willing to pivot if something else goes down. And if ever I need to reset the room and there's like a lull, amazing. I will revert back to the thing I planned on doing. Because if the thing I planned on doing doesn't necessarily happen, that's okay. And try to touch on it, right? You want to deliver on the promise. But sometimes when I go live, I'm going live, we're hanging out in the studio, and I know what I'm planning to do in the studio, but there wasn't necessarily a topic. So if a topic comes up, I'm going with that.
Sure.
If we're running out of stuff to talk about, there's always things to talk about. And also you can use the tools that YouTube gives you in order to figure out what to talk about. Like, what are people actually looking for from you?
Yeah.
And if you want to combine that, because you're a creative person, if you're watching this and you're here, you're a creative person. I don't care what you say. You can be creative about it and make it work.
And I think that like, even going back to the dinner conversation you mentioned earlier, like if I was talking to you, like we're using microphones right now, we are listening to, like, that's not an engaging conversation at all. I loved how you described it with the knife there. So I think that that's something, you gotta have, I think this is very well from the chat here. So come in with a flexible plan. Absolutely. And, Rodney, I think to go full circle, like your name, it's not only having a flexible plan, it's being aware that even if it may not make sense for the total live stream, it's a total experience, right? Like not every conversation at a party is about the party you're at. And if it is, I would have some questions for that.
Right, like, so if you go into like, as a guest, right, you go into a party and you're like, even if you're, like, networking, right, and this is, like, networking tips for you too, don't just go in and be like, "You only talk about yourself. This
Mm.
is who I am and what I do." Like, have a real person conversation with someone, right? Like, w watching, Doc and I go to conferences together and watching him talk to people, and it always ends up back at Japan. It like, they could be, like, trying to connect on whatever levels, but then, like, they talk about travel, it gets to Japan, and then they're, like, best friends because they're like, "Oh, this is another human that's doing human things. How exciting. Now we can have something to talk about." And also finding the things that the other person is excited to talk about. So asking questions, really asking questions. I do for growing community, one of my favorite things is actually getting people's birthdays. People who come and
Oh.
show up a lot, I, like, just randomly sometimes, like, I gotta find my notes. I haven't been good about it, but, like, I was doing it a lot, like, just taking notes on when people's birthdays are. So then if I'm live and they happen to pop up and it's their birthday, I can be like, "Oh my gosh, everybody, it's Rodney's birthday. Happy birthday, Rodney," right? People love to hear their names, calling people by name
Yeah.
from the chat. I will like, Andrew and I know each other. If I
Yeah.
come into this live stream when I'm not a guest here and Andrew's like, "Oh, Marielou is here," I still get like, "Hee
Same.
hee." There's like, I don't know what it is, and it's like, it's people we know that we could talk to whenever, but, like, hearing your name come out of a speaker,
Rodney
I
says
don't
it
know, it's
totally
like
just worked.
right? You're and, like, big people's day, right? Give people a little bit of delight, because why not?
No, I think that's a great point. And to give some delight, Demi, welcome as always. Demi's very active here. We have a lot of great people in chat. And, I love how you talk to chat. And I had a question because I think, this really goes to it. You make people feel seen, even when this chat is moving really like quickly. So how do you kind of do that? Because I saw someone's like, I want to talk to chat, but I don't want to lose my pacing. How would you balance like keeping chat engaged, but not
Mhm.
just like devolving into chaos?
So, okay, so then I understand this is, like, as 2 different styles.
Hmm.
You can do a live stream where there is a presentation, there is, like, an agenda, there's things you wanna talk about. So, like, this interview in particular, right? Like, we're not addressing every single comment that comes up because this is a structured topic interview situation.
Sure.
So, popping in once in a while, "Oh, hello, caught this relates, this makes sense, glad to see you here." Easy, right? So if you were speaking in front of a group of people and you see like, "Oh, Andrew just walked in the room. Hey, Andrew, let's continue talking about the thing," right? Oh yeah, you know that this person, Doc is sitting in the audience and Doc is really good about talking to other people. This is a really great example. We continue talking about the thing. We can make references without completely derailing. Now, the other type of live stream is the chat focused live stream. We are here to talk to the people in the chat and have conversations, right? And you don't have to read every single one, but it is nice to like address everybody, as possible. But then something you got to learn too is don't read out loud everything until you've read it in your head.
Oh yeah.
Read it in your head first, and then if it's worthwhile, read it out loud. Because sometimes I had to learn this. You read something out loud that you're like, "Oh, never mind. Never mind. We don't want to address this person. This person is saying things that are not appropriate for this conversation."
And
And you
that's
don't
when
have to
you
necessarily call them
tell the
out, but
mods, thank you, and we appreciate
thank
you.
you. Yes, exactly. So that it can go either ways. The other way to do it, I used to live stream this way that I would go live and the first, however, if it was 10 to 20 minutes, however long it took me to do the tutorial, the presentation, I'm not acknowledging the chat, right? I go live. Today, we're going to talk about creator search insights on TikTok. This is where you go. This is what you do. So you're basically recording your live to tape. And then thank you guys so much for hanging out. Let's see if we have any questions.
Hmm.
Now we go to Q&A because you can scroll back. And if the chat is distracting to you, close the window.
Close the
Just
window
close
is
the
great
window.
advice. I think that's also like it's what I tell people like if you have a pop-out screen on your camera, close it because otherwise you're just sitting there looking at yourself and you're not looking at the audience. And we can tell. Like
We
that's
can
something
tell.
that I also like I balance, right? Like we both use, I think you're using an Elgato prompter, keep me
Mhm.
honest on it. But I also
Yes.
have the chat right here, right? But I'm also like Marilou's right here. So it's that balancing act. And I say that to say, even though Marielou and I are good at it, it doesn't mean that we're not also practicing it ourselves. And a lot of the questions I could have just text Marielou and she would have gladly answered for me. A lot of these I've always kind of wanted to ask, but I'm like, this is a way better format.
Yeah, and then we all get to be part of the party, right? And this is as far as like running a channel and building community. Andrew thought this conversation is something that his community would love to hear about. So he brought me to hang out with you guys, right? And this is what he does every week. What is it that your people like you are leading the group, right? So as a community, right? You're not like their boss or anything, but like you are, it is your job as the creator to entertain, educate, whatever, provide these people with the thing that is interesting to them. And hopefully, if you're doing this well, you are getting a feel for what it is that would be useful to them. So whether it's something they asked for or something that you're like, you know what, I think they really, this is good for them. This is something that they would like.
For sure. I think that like you also have to leave room for surprise and delight, right? Because what a lot of people they get almost focused the other way. They're so focused on like giving the information. It's like, hey, you don't know when you can surprise someone, when you can delight them, right? And I think that that's also the other side. It's balance with anything, right?
Yes, absolutely. And you think about any of your loved ones, right? We know, like, okay, with my sister, I'm like, let's go to this movie. She'll want to go to this movie with me, right? So there's stuff that's planned. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take her here. She knows that I'm going here. But sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, she is going to love it if we go to this like thing. And I'm not going to tell her that. I just know she's going to love it, right? And then the surprise of like, oh my gosh, wasn't that great? That was so cool. I didn't expect that. And that's always fun to like surprise and delight is what they like to call it in marketing. Surprise and delight.
Mm-hmm. I like what Doc Rock says here, and he's like, I feel if you're focused on giving your information, or so focused on it that you refuse to break or even take a break and acknowledge the chat, you're making it about you and not their experience. I think that's a great way to say it. And like that's maybe where if you just want to give the information, maybe you use the premiere feature instead, right? Or if you are like, you could set that tone that that's what you do every live stream, right? If you're brand new, or even if you've done live streaming, right? Like I learn a lot from you, Marielou. I learn a lot from Doc. I think the thing that we always say in our community is we're always learning. And that's why I brought you on, is because I said this to you in person at Uscreen Connect. Shout out Rob Balasavas. He's not here, but shout outs. And this is an event where they teach you about community and how you can build your memberships, right? And one thing they said is that experience starts the second they see your face. How do you follow through all the way to the end, right? And so when I was there, like just the experience of hanging out with Marielou there at NAB, it's just been like you were always so fun to talk to, and I always learned something. And that's really why I brought it to my audience.
Yeah, and you can't get rid of me now. Can't get rid of me now.
No.
And like I learned so much from Andrew as well. Like we all have to be willing to be open to new information, experience, conversation. Like there was no way that like Andrew and I both know everything exactly the same. But the thing is, even if we do have some of the same information, how he explains it is different than how I explain it. It might break my brain open. Like Andrew consulted me. Like I'm always like helping other people with their channels, and then he looked at my channel. I was like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? But it was like it was great. I was like, I didn't even think about it this way. That's where community is really important. Not only like between the creator and the audience, but between creators and creators. Like you should still be connecting with other people as well and learning always. I love to learn.
Oh, I love learning too. And like that's one of like I mentioned our community. I want to shout out to Ike, who was in the chat, who really does a great job helping us run it. And like a lot of what I've learned, you can learn from your community off a live stream and bring it to it, right? Like we started something in our server that's called the Daily Check-in, where every day I ask a new question. I've only missed once, but I was in the not feeling too great that day stage. So, but I say that to say that like the way you can set the tone starts way before you hit go live, and you can prep. I saw from Livestream Consultants, an amazing creator in their own right as well, that they said preparation before a stream is everything. my question to you, Marielou, is like, how do you prep for a live stream? Because you do so many. Like, is it different for each one? Is there like a habit or a ritual you do every time? What's your kind of flow there?
There is, so if there's something specific that I need to cover, right? If it's a branded thing or there's a topic and it with the intention that this is going to be a replay, I will prepare completely different than if it's just come hang out with me. That one, the preparation for that one is having my studio always ready. So it's that like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready kind of situation. So my desk is set up. So if I wanted to sit down and go live, I could do it. I also know on my phone, if I just need to press go live, I will just do it that way. And I'd have like whatever, the microphone or not the microphone, or the light or not the light. There's multiple different ways that I can go live ASAP, plus contingencies. If one of them doesn't work, you can go live another way and just be okay that it looks different, right? If like today, I wanted to cover different ways to search for topics, and I wanted to do a screen share on my phone. It did not work today. Usually it always works, but I hadn't checked it in a while and it did not connect the way I normally wanted to. Fine. I hold my phone up to the screen so you can see it. And I will address that topic again, another time in the way that I want to, but it's okay because that information is still good. If somebody caught it today and it helped them and there was conversation, great. Maybe it helped me work through what needs to be explained, as
True.
opposed to me just guessing while I'm by myself, because we workshopped the topic essentially. So preparing, if it's something that's like a presentation and you're going to be somewhere that it needs to look professional and together, that is one type of preparation. So my live stream today was in preparation to come be on Andrew's channel, because that gave me a whole hour to make sure the microphone works, the light works, the camera works, make sure all of that is good, because I'm a guest on his channel. So I'm getting ready for the party. That is how you have to think about it, because sometimes if you're going to a wedding, you're going to take more time to prepare than if you're going to the grocery store, right? There's some preparation for each, but they are different types of events, and you have to kind of think about it that way. So, notes is good. If you have a specific thing to talk about, having a little bit of a concept of what can we cover today, great. But then when you get really like loose, like I am, just go live, whatever, you'll see it. They'll be here. We'll hang out.
And sometimes those just go live because you feel like it streams can be some of your best, even if like your viewership isn't that great, or even the opposite. I've seen people be like, I didn't even plan to go live, but it ended up being one of my best live streams. It's because you felt it in the moment. The energy was there. Maybe you called out to your audience to share more than you normally would because you're just feeling it. Maybe they felt more compelled because you were more compelling. So I loved everything you mentioned there, especially like you need to look at events like grocery store versus wedding. That's such a great way to look at it, because I am going to definitely prep different. And I think that's something that I've learned. I've never said it out loud, but I've kind of been doing in my own live streams. But the way you just said it, that's why you got to follow Marielou if you aren't. There's links in those descriptions. You absolutely should become part of the Marielou Mafia. I don't know your official chat name, but I just love the alliteration.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
I like the MM there. Or
yeah, we played with the lunatics. The lunatics, the Luniversity. Like, there's different ways to go with it, I guess. But
the Marielou
Mafia, maybe. Yeah, keep giving us ideas, because we're trying to figure out what it is. But I will say, Rodney, the one I will not do is the MLM.
Fair enough.
Doc used to call me MLM, and that's when we became friends, because I was like, you can't call me that. I'm not a pyramid scheme. And he's like, oh.
No, you're not a pyramid scheme. It's just shaped like a triangle. It's nothing, not similar at all.
Multi-level marketing.
Please don't, folks. If you're watching, don't fall into that trap. But I will say, something you should fall into is getting consistent, whether that's live streaming once, live streaming multiple times a week. We have a question from Kenneth, and this was going to, how much do you go live in 1 week? He says that I try 3 days in a week. So, Marielou, how often do you try? And if someone's starting, how often should they go live?
So currently, on my personal channel is scheduled 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. because I can remember it. It is not what was most ideal on the analytics or this or that. This is when I can do it. I know that I can spend the top part of my day getting done the admin things and things like that I need to get done. And then I have by 2 p.m., you better be done with all of that because we're going to go live. Sometimes for funsies, I'll go more often just because I got something to say. If you include the once a week I go live with Doc on his channel, then that's 3 times, right? That's a whole other one. The choosing when I go also with Tuesday, like Andrew and I actually talked about this because Andrew's live stream was coming back. How could we together as peers schedule in a way, because we have like audiences that would like the similar kind of information. I can drive from my live stream to Andrew's on Tuesdays or Thursdays, right? I do the redirect knowing that he's going to go live right after me. Like that was intentional. So as a beginner, man, as often as you can, right? Because what we need is for you to get reps in. But if you cannot wrap your head around that, one time a week at a specific time every week, rain or shine, you show up. And that's what my Tuesdays and Thursdays is like that. If I am in the kitchen, like it was like before Thanksgiving, I was cooking some stuff and I was like, I have to go live, but I also have to make these cornbread muffins. So they hung out with me in the kitchen. We talked about Thanksgiving stuff, but we also talked about content creation stuff while I was cooking things because you can do more than one thing at a time. But if you can
There
pick
you
one
go.
time, that is the time and you do it no matter what.
I'm seeing people are loving being part of the Marielou Mafia, speaking of doing multiple things at a
Ooh.
time. I think it might stick, but I also think that, it is a lot easier to be a viewer than the host, but I like what these two are saying is like what Rodney's saying. And it is. Being a viewer, like I think that's something that you really understand and appreciate once you've hosted what it's like to be a party goer or being a restaurant goer. You've got my mind going on this, Marielou. I'm not going to be able to shake this now, but it's great teachings. Like that's when you resonate or when something sticks with you like that. That's when you know something is good, right? And I think that that's something you should be aware of when you are talking to your audience. Like, what am I trying to get them to experience out of this? Is this to learn something like this one? Is it to be entertained? Also like this. I would call this an edutainment stream. I'm having a lot of fun. And let us know in the chat if you are too. But I also think that there are some times where people are like, oh, I got to be entertaining. But it's very hard to be entertaining to everyone. Like, if I told you right now, Marielou, be entertaining, you probably could do it, but that's also just very okay. I'll do my best.
Yes. I would just go grab a cat.
Right. Cats, unfortunately, well, not actually. Fortunately for YouTubers, cats have always done well. They probably always will do well. I say unfortunate because even in our year of this stream, I've heard people say, I thought YouTube was just cat videos. I'm like, it has not just been cat videos in decades. And I mean decades. We have 2 now.
Yeah, it's been a while, but like, even with thinking about the progress of YouTube, right? If we think about people still think about YouTube at the beginning, it's just cat videos, right? But if somebody came on, you can get cat videos, but they might be robot generated cats. You show up with your face on a live stream, you cannot be replicated in that same way. Like I can have like an AI like version of me, but it is not going to have the same weirdness. There's no way they're going to be able to replicate that. Now, there are like what are they called? V hosts? Is it
VTubers?
Like VTubers, right? So it's like it's a robot, but it's a person. It's like a puppet. It's essentially like a digital puppet. That's a different game. And like, would it one day get there? Who knows? I don't care. We're worrying about right now. Right now, you can show up. And I know for a fact that YouTube wants you to go live every day. I know because like I'm in this like boot camp thing. They're trying to get us to go live every day. They're like, even if it's 10 minutes, here's a topic, something random, show what you're doing, right? Like Justin Bieber is live streaming behind the scenes of whatever, I guess on Twitch. I haven't seen it, but it's come up a lot. And like he's famous, it's different. But the concept of just live streaming what you're doing and hang out with people for a little bit is something that the platforms are pushing and wanting. So you should just do it.
And Doc says, by the way, key point platforms YouTube and TikTok are basically begging creators to go live. So he agrees. And then he says, she tried to steal my line. But I think it's more like great minds think alike. And I love that you mentioned that these platforms want us to go live, because if you think about it, YouTube is the number one thing on TV. And I mean that. YouTube has come out. They are proud of that fact. In fact, there might be people watching right now on their TVs. I don't know if you've ever gotten this, Marielou, but I've had people like take a photo of watching a live stream of mine in their living room on TV. I'm always like, that's so cool. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, to think that that's where we are these days, you know?
I will put my replay on the TV just to see it on there, so I can be like, I'm on the
TV. Look, Ma, I made it.
Yes. You know, because that's like, I mean, I started like pre-YouTube. I wanted to be an on-camera host. I wanted to do like e-entertainment. I wanted to do the red carpets. I wanted to do that. I wanted to be on the TV, right? And like I went down that road. I'm really so happy to be able to be autonomous and do it this way, because this is what those hosts are begging to try to do now. You are already doing it. You are creating, and you need to be doing it a lot, and know that people are watching on their TV. Like, they want someone to hang out with. I hear this often. It's like they want the thing that, even if they're not chatting with you. So this is also something to keep in mind. People are watching while they're doing dishes and they're doing chores. They're not chatting with you. They're just there to hear and listen and be part of the vibes. They are not there necessarily to sit and watch you and just chit chat with you. I always tell people all the time, if you're hanging out with me and you're a creator, I really hope that you take your time also to be working on your creating. It can be while we're live streaming. We can be co-working. You do not need to sit here and like absorb everything I'm saying. Like, if it's like a lesson, right? Like, that's one thing for like teaching something, but like hanging out in the studio, I do that in the hopes that you also take that 1 to 2 hours and hang out in your studio and work on something. Because this is how we progress, is by actually doing.
Like I always say, my audience knows it. I say published beats perfect, because at the end of the day, I've heard this my whole creative career. I've been doing this over a decade. And people are like, well, it's not perfect yet. And I'm like, you know what? It isn't published. And sometimes it'll never reach published if you're chasing perfection. And so I think, you know, I see from Rodney here who says, you know, I've been slow to go live. Some people are like, oh, I can only go live once I get everything perfect. I got to dial my gear in perfectly. What is your response to that?
Listen, I did a whole year of live streams that was just building out the studio. Like, live stream was the working on getting the studio together. It was, how do I use this audio interface? How do I use this microphone? Is this the right place for the lights? Let them see the process. If you wait till everything to be perfect, you will never do it. Because perfect shows are produced. There's so many people who are working on the news. There are so many people, and that still isn't even perfect. So you're not going to get there by yourself in your room, because you got to be on camera. You got to also be behind the camera. You got to be next to the camera. You got to do all the things. It's a lot of things. So you cannot expect to get there, but you can make it look real good, and you can hang out. And even if it doesn't look good, it can still look good. It can look good from your phone. You can put your phone and stand by the window and talk.
Yeah. And with software on phones too, like now you can capture yourself and your screen at the same time. So like a lot of the barrier to entry, which is great. Like you were showing off earlier in your live stream that you got a new light, right? Like a lot of the gear used to be hundreds of dollars, and now you can get really good stuff for less than 100. And I know, look, when I was in college, less than 100 was still too much. One of my core values is I always think about cost for my viewers, because I've been there. I know what it's like not to be able to afford this. But even if it's just you, your phone, and a window light that's coming through, like that's enough. My first live stream was on a phone, and I just went live after an event. I didn't think anyone would show up. I was just feeling it. It did very well, and I've done it ever since. But it was more so that I was producing other live streams, and I know you've been in the producer seat many a time, Marielou. So how do you change your hats when you're live to be, you are the producer, but you're also the host, right? How do you balance those two hats as you're going live?
Is letting them see the seams, right?
Mm.
Like people want things to be seamless, but if you let people see, if you're going live and if you're a producer and you got the talent on stage and something is going wrong, they're gonna they need to distract while you fix this, right? But you can't necessarily do that. So you can tell people, you know what, actually, this thing's not working right now. Let's work on this together. In the meantime, how are y'all doing? What are you into right now? Oh, did you watch that new show? Okay, let's figure this out. And then, you get in there and you fix it and let them see. Let them see. It's fine. That's
And
how I
then
balance it.
no, I love that. I love how you just kind of let them see it. Sometimes you could do that so well, people think it's planned, and then you're like, I wish it was planned.
Yeah. And if you think about if you've ever, while you were doing your thing, whatever your thing is, and you just had someone hanging out with you on FaceTime or just sitting in the room and chit chatting with you, right? It's that. It's just that. It doesn't need to be more complex than that. Now, you can go do a presentation. That is a different thing, right? But if you're going presentation route, then you would have troubleshot everything. You would have practiced it. You would have rehearsed. You would have double, triple checked everything is plugged in and going to work. That is a different game.
Yes.
Is not what I necessarily consider live streams in what I want y'all to be doing. I want you to have this skill set also because it will feed the other one.
No, 100%. By doing live streams, when I was invited to do live workshops, I had already had some of the skills I knew. It just took practice and repetition. Likewise, when you're live streaming, one thing I see a lot in my audience and even in videos is people are like, oh, I don't want to be repetitive. It takes people 7 times to learn something. Repetition is reinforcement, right? So even you mentioned earlier, right? You're going to make other videos about how to find ideas. That could be a little bit repetitive, but it's also reinforcing, and you're going to do it differently per format, right? Because when you're live, you have the ability to answer questions, but maybe in the recorded video, similar to a workshop live stream, you might be a little tighter in your formatting.
Yes, and you wouldn't necessarily you would have to repeat yourself because information changes, or you might have to address it in a different way, or it's not like you have the same script and you're saying that same thing every time. You can, because if you made the video and 20 people saw it and you're like, I can't do it because I already made that video. No, only 20 people saw it. There's a lot of people out on the internet. There's a lot of people. And maybe you will do it in a way or package it in a way that will get to more people. And if they saw it twice, I know every single one of us in here has seen the same information from the same person multiple times, and we're fine. We're fine. We're all even probably better for it because we're like, oh yeah, reinforce that information, right? And with the live streams versus a presentation, if you only go live when it's the big show, the workshop, the high stakes one, it's going to be so stressful if you have not also been doing the low stakes ones. But if you do the low stakes live streams, you will work through all the things that could potentially happen in the high stakes one, and you'll be able to fix it much faster because you've already done it when it wasn't going to be the end of the world. It wasn't going to cost you a client. It wasn't going to embarrass you. Get embarrassed on the low stakes ones, and then you'll know what to do.
And I think get embarrassed on the low stakes one, practice on those low stake ones. A lot of people may not know this, but they know that I live stream on the Opus Clip YouTube channel. But I just helped them produce on the back end their human versus AI challenge. And that had over 15 people in the green room coming in, coming out, getting switched, putting them on stage. And I have done large produced live streams, but it had been a couple of years, truthfully. And they're like, we need this done. We need it done in 2 weeks. Can you do it? And it's like, when I do these live streams here, not to say that the stakes aren't as high, but it's more so when it's just me, or when it is 10 people and there's 500 people, there's a little bit of difference. But because I did the practice here, and because I'm having that, and because I've gone live so long solo, I feel comfortable bringing guests in like Marielou. I would one thing I've realized in myself, and Marielou I've learned by watching you, watching Doc, is that I have so many friends, but I'm always so afraid to invite them on my show because I'm like, I don't want to waste their time. And then I'm like, I can always just ask. So that was even me practicing that, right?
Yeah, and that practice as well, right? We were talking about you need to also connect with other creators who are in your realm or even not in your realm, because there's always a way to connect it. There is always a way. And I dare
Yes.
anyone ever to get in my comments. They're like, I don't know how to connect this and this. I dare you. I will find a way, because it's a matter of like training how you think. But connecting with other people, like with your live streams, you should collaborate. You should collaborate with other people. So there's a new feature, collaboration on YouTube. When Andrew is done with this video and it's up, he should invite me as a collaborator. So
I
then it
will.
also shows up on my channel, right? And then it also goes to my audience. This is how you continue to grow your community, right? Andrew could bring on someone who is not in the creator education realm, right? So like, what's your favorite pop star or music artist?
Fall Out Boy right now is according to my YouTube music Wrapped.
Who is it? Fall
Fall
Out
Out
Boy?
Boy. Yeah.
Okay, so if we got Pete Wentz, right? Pete Wentz is like on the show. What do you talk to Pete Wentz about to relate to your audience?
On the top of my head, just his music production side. I think production of any kind can be brought into one another. And on YouTube, good audio is more important than any other visual. So I'd probably talk to him about his audio production. Like, how do you've performed at some of the largest venues in the world. How do you deal with that? Things like that.
Yes, there's always a way. Okay, so what is your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant, I would say chain would be Ding Tai Fung. If you know, you know.
Yes. Okay, so you got the head chef of DTF coming on your show. What are you talking to him about? Or her? Them?
I would talk to them. I like what you said, him
Mhm,
or her,
mhm,
them.
mhm.
I would probably talk to them about, what is your favorite thing to actually make? What's your favorite thing to serve? What's something that tastes great but is a pain in the ass to do? Because I feel like those are the questions that people want to ask, but they never feel empowered to, or maybe they do, but they just don't really think to look it up.
Right, and then how do we relate that to the creators? Is sometimes you need to make something that is a pain in the butt, right?
Hmm.
Like, people love it. People love the, I don't know, intricate multi-shot interview, right? Whatever. And maybe it's hard to do, but people love it. So you got to make that sometimes if that's what really your audience loves. And like, as long as you don't like want to pull your eyes out.
And speaking of what your audience loves, I'll go direct to you if you're watching. If whether you are a part of the Marielou Mafia or the Can Do crew, let us know what is your favorite parts about live streaming. Whether you're watching this live or that replay, right? Because I have an idea of what I think people like, but sometimes the things that have you ever had this happen to you, Marielou? I'm curious. Or it's a stream like you're like, I don't know if that went well, but someone's like, that was actually my favorite piece of content you've ever done.
It happens so much that I have broken my brain from ever thinking any expectation on what is good and what's not good, because it really isn't up to me. It's up to me to deliver content. It is up to me to continue to show up and share things and continue to grow myself so I can share that experience and information with everyone else. But it is not up for me to judge if today's topic was the right or wrong one, because every time, not every time a video goes out, but every time it's something that I did not think was it, there's always someone, and it's usually the people who aren't the commenters. They'll find
Hmm.
me, like DM me some other way, and they're like, that was really good today. That really landed with me. I needed to hear that. And that, ooh, that is the point of all of this.
Agreed. Well, like even talking here, right? Rodney says he needs to go live more. If Rodney after this, I see him going more often, going live, and I hope when you do go live, and this goes into something we can talk about in just a bit, please share it with people. Like another thing I see people make the mistake of doing is I'm going live. No one showed up. I'm like, well, you never told us you were going live until you did it. Two, when you did do it, you never shared it out past you went live. And three, like you got to give people time to show up. Some people I've seen do a 5-minute live stream, like, well, no one came, so I'm ending the stream. I'm like, I came in at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. When people come in is when they come in.
Yes. And that is something, like, I have definitely done that. Like, if I wasn't in the right mindset and I went live and it's like 3 minutes past, but I just needed to like push the button because it was my time, that will come up from sometimes. But like, the best you can make it a schedule, then people can show up with you and for you because it's now part of their schedule. I know every week that Andrew goes live right after my lives. So I just do the redirect and then I pop over and say hi. I might not be able to hang out, but I know it's happening. I know he's there. It's in my mind. You got to get on people's minds. Like your favorite show, you know when it's coming out. You know it comes out at whatever 5 p.m. December 25th, round 2, Stranger Things. I'm so excited that you were ready for this. Like give people something to be excited about. Give them something to be excited about. And then also, if you're scared or hesitant or you don't know, you're afraid nobody's going to be there, find someone to go live with. Like Doc and I go live together every Tuesday morning. And that is, if nobody's there, we're talking to each other. There's people there because we've consistently been doing that for like that. It was his solo live stream time for a long time. And then I came on, and then it's like, whether we record our show or not. Okay. Cause that is the time where we are going to do our Creators Unstuck podcast. So we do like the pre-show, we show how we plan it, we record the show, and then a little chit chat afterwards. But sometimes we just vibe, we just hang out. And at the very least, I always know I'm going to talk to my friend.
True. And I think that's also another way. Like I'm getting to hang out with friends, whether it's just me alone and people coming to chat, or whether I'm as gracious as enough as Marielou is with her time. Like I always see it as I'm getting to hang out with my friends. And I think that's an important thing because you're going to be a little more relaxed. You're going to be a little more in it per chance. And I think those things matter. And, one thing I have been told, and I would love your opinions on this, is, you're just such a memorable host, or you're such a warm personality. I don't have that. My question to you, Marielou, is what do you think makes a host memorable beyond like a good audio? And then I said, what to you makes a memorable host?
Is seeing and connecting with the audience. That's why people remember you. It is not because you had the best looking footage. It's not because you had the best sounding microphone. It's because you saw them and you connected with them, right? That we saw Gretchen is in here. Jose is in here, You guys are here. We see you. We're connecting with you. And those conversations continue live stream to live stream. So even if I am hosting, like I'm hired as a host and it's a crowd I've never seen before, right? I might not know everybody's names, but I will make eye contact. I will see them. If I'm a guest on somebody else's live stream, I will say people's names because the information's right there. And then people get that and then they remember.
No, 100%. So I think to answer that, and like I love how you look at it, is you're like, whether you know the room or you don't, it's still your job to win them over. And a memorable host doesn't matter the gear, it matters what you say when you are there. I love that.
Yes. And trying to, like, especially as you're growing the community, right? The getting to know people a little bit. We're in the creator realm. So people who watch us are creators or working on developing themselves as creators. On YouTube, you can go look at their channel. You can just click on their face in the chat and go to their channel. And you're like, oh yeah, I see that you do this. Oh, I see, like Jose, he's in my community. He comes and hangs out on my live streams. We had talked about going live, and he said that he did on Tuesday. I was like, well, let's go check it out. He's like, oh, you see me? Yes, I see you. Like you are here. You're a real person. They are real people. So treat them like real people and act like a real person. Have a good time with it.
I agree. And I think, real people, I also, if you're not reaching the audience you want, sometimes changing the time of when you can go live can help with that too. I used to live stream a little bit earlier in the day, and I would notice my viewer count wasn't as high as when I would go later, right? Like that's why I moved to 3 p.m., right? Because when I was going live at like 10, I wouldn't get the same audience. When I asked my audience, I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, I have work, I'm at school. And I was like, okay, well, 3 p.m., I'm based in LA. So 3 p.m. LA time is 6 p.m. East Coast time. Maybe if I think of like Doc in Hawaii, like that, they have their own time zone. So it gave me opportunity to reach more people. And then the Australian crowd shows up because they're waking up, and it just changed my mindset, right? So how did you decide, besides remembering it 2 p.m., right? Like you said you remembered it because it was 2 p.m. I see this actually now coming in from Kenneth. When you can stream in the middle of the day or morning, it attracts more people, but how do you approach that when I can only live stream in the evening around 2100? So what would you say to someone if they only have a certain time when they can stream? Maybe they have a busy schedule.
If you can only stream at that time, then that's the time you stream.
Yep.
Because I'd rather you stream and it be less audience and they develop, or it takes a little bit more time for them to catch up, or they have to watch a replay, than you not stream at all. Because if you don't show up, you're guaranteed 0 views.
Beanie from Australia says, speaking of waking up, I did not plan that. That just so happened. But
good morning, Beanie.
Good morning, Beanie. Good morning, Australia crew. And if you're watching this in the middle of the night in the replay, good night. Also, earlier you said if you know it's someone's birthday, happy birthday. There's someone potentially out there watching it during their birthday. And also earlier you mentioned if they're doing the dishes, you might have missed a spot. Just feel free to go back over that.
Just double check that when we were dropping some truth bombs.
Yes, and if you are watching a second monitor, which is fine because you're creating, good luck on your edit there.
Yes, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you for doing things.
But
you
like,
feel seen.
Right, but even in that, right? Like we're paying back to those who have watched the stream the whole time or the replay, and like that's how you make a moment. Like a moment doesn't have to be like Mariellou's gonna break dance in the middle of the live stream and it was unexpected. Anyway, Marielou, here's how we tell them you're full. I'm just kidding. You imagine? Poor Marielou. I love how you commit though. Marielou would make it happen.
But yes, like, and baby.
Yes, absolutely. So I say all that to say, whether you're thinking about it or you're just joining or you've been here, you know, a memorable experience starts, again, going back to what Marielou said, the host, right? Like, what did I want everyone to get from watching this stream? One, please go subscribe to Marielou. Link's in the description. You should definitely check her out. But two, also that, like, everything is possible. If we can, you can too. And look, it may not be 100% perfect. Perfect never happens anyway. Things I thought were perfect a couple of years ago, I look back, I'm like, God, what was I thinking? Have you ever had that?
Yes. Yes. Go back and you're just like, ooh, I really thought I was doing something. But that's a good thing, because that version of you at that point was doing something, was brave enough to give something a try, was brave enough to put something out there. And now you know different now. But that's why I keep going back to, what do we know now? Right, because there's the thing of I forget who talks about it, but that's like sometimes creatives get stuck because your taste is not caught up, like your skill level is not caught up with your taste. So you have high taste, you want things to look a certain way, but your skill set's not there yet. You have to work through it, because you will never get to that level if you don't actually do.
Yeah. 100%. And if you don't actually do, you won't actually know. And what I know though is that when I think of live streaming and I think of people that make hosting effortlessly, Marielou, you come to mind. Marielou, if people don't know, how could they support you even more?
So you can come and hang out with me on the YouTube channel. It's at Marielou. I'm at Marielou Mandl on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. I'm everywhere. I also have my membership Video Creator Club, which is where we can check in with each other. I get people to turn in their uploads every week because I'm very, very, very just enthusiastic that you get an upload up every week, because live streams, I think, are important. Yes, absolutely. But there is also something about intentionally recording yourself, because I do think that's the scarier one, is recording yourself and uploading that video. So that's Video Creator Club. I've got a accountability cohort that is starting in January. I believe I've got 2 spots left. I'm maxing it out at 5. So if that's something you're interested in, you can find me on Instagram and DM me, and we can talk about it.
And we'll have those in the description, so it's even easier. As always, I'm Andrew Can, and if we can, you can too. Marielou, thank you. Take care, everyone.
You.